Ladies and gentlemen,
This is the Dental Up Podcast, brought to you by Keating Dental Arts, a full-service, award-winning dental laboratory. Each week, you'll learn tips and techniques from real-world dentists, bringing you in-depth interviews, motivating stories, current events, and sports. Here's your host,
the Senior Technical Advisor for Keating Dental Arts, Brandon Fetters.
Hi everyone, Brandon here. Welcome to another episode of the Dental Up Podcast. Our guest this week is a specialist in Facebook advertisement and digital marketing. He has helped dentists and aesthetic clinics generate new leads by using his 7-step automated appointment system. He has also helped them to establish a strong online footprint and social media presence. From Manchester, England, please welcome Zak Haddad. How's it going, Zak?
Yes, very well, Brandon. How's it going?
Going rather well, thank you.
Yes, good.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Can you tell us a little bit from the beginning about how you got into the dental industry?
Yeah, for sure. So, firstly, obviously, the reason why we actually got into the dentist industry first, okay, is because we actually found a gap in the market, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that dentists are there essentially to help people, right? So they help people feel better about themselves and actually fix other people's problems, which is what we do in our business. So we thought, it'd be good to actually merge the two together, help dentists get new patients into the practice, whilst they actually help the patients feel better about themselves, pretty much.
Nice. So, tell us a little bit about the brand that you started right after school, Social Commitments.
We're a social media marketing agency. Obviously, we're based in Manchester in the United Kingdom, and we specialize specifically in generating leads for dentists and also aesthetic clinics as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's mainly dentists that we actually work with. So, essentially, our goal, like I said, is to actually help dental practices get more patients, and we essentially connect the two through social media. So, I was actually speaking with a lady on LinkedIn the other day, and she was telling me, her goal. Because she's a dental, she works in a dental practice, she owns a dental practice, and she was saying her goal is to actually help people overcome their fear of dentistry, that actually resonated with me in the sense that that's, pretty much what we're trying to do. We're trying to help dentists help other people with their fear of dentistry, essentially. So, it was pretty interesting that she said that. It's pretty interesting. So in terms, so it's the fact that we actually work in terms of social commitments. The fact that we work with a specific niche allows us to actually identify what works well and what doesn't on social media. So, in regards to the services that we actually offer, we offer like a system to our dental practices that we work with. It's essentially an automated appointment system, as we call it, which incorporates a lot of different services into one. Right. So, we offer the main service that we offer is social media marketing, of course. But then we actually have various different services that we offer as well within the system, such as, automation systems as well, which essentially, makes getting leads for our dental practices and generating the appointments from those leads as easy as possible, basically.
Gotcha. Yeah, and how well adapt are dentists with using social media there in the UK in comparison to doctors here in the States?
Yeah, definitely, UK dentists definitely are starting to use social media a lot more, which is great to see because there's no doubt that, social media as an advertising platform is extremely powerful compared to other marketing methods, outdated marketing methods such as, radio or newspapers, leaflets, etc. Social media is very, very powerful, and it's just a great way of getting your treatments, services, etc. in front of your exact target audience.
Yeah, would you say it's a far more effective way of marketing versus traditional methods?
Yeah, for sure. No, definitely. Yeah, definitely. It's just so much more powerful. You can reach a lot more people on a daily basis, and the cost compared to other advertising methods is a lot less as well. So you can get very low cost per leads. And yeah, like you say, we can reach a lot more people, and it's also extremely targeted as well.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely targeted. So, you can target people with your advertisements based on their certain actions. So let's say if they visited your website, you can target those specific people by actually having a Facebook pixel installed onto that website. Okay, so what a Facebook pixel is, for those people who don't know, is essentially a piece of code that you install onto your website that tracks people's activity. So that's one very, very powerful thing about advertising on Facebook specifically, is the fact that you can actually target people who have already visited your website, who have already interacted with your business. So it's very, very powerful.
That's great. Are there any other online strategies that would help their marketing that you'd be able to share?
Yeah, so in regards to strategies, there's various different strategies that you can use on social media, first and foremost. So, for example, using landing pages work very well. So for people who don't know what a landing page is, it's essentially a specific web page that you send people to in order to capture their information, essentially, right? So the reason why landing pages work very well is because you can include a lot of information on a landing page, similar to a website. So you can include client, previous patient testimonials, etc. You can include a lot of different information about the particular treatment that you're advertising, as well as capturing the leads information, which is essentially the most important thing when you're advertising on social media and when you're generating leads. And I'd also say, like, using lead generation forms as well are very, very, very effective, and we use them a lot as well in a social commitment. So what a lead form is, it's essentially a form that when someone clicks on your advertisement, it pops up straight on Facebook, which means that people don't actually have to leave the Facebook platform in order to enter their details on Facebook. So it makes it very easy for the end consumer and also the practices who are advertising on social media to actually capture the leads information. So yeah, that's a really great way. So landing pages and lead forms. And then also in terms of the strategy, so this is more so in regards to the sales process. So the sales process is very, very important on social media, and I actually can't stress how important this is. And I think it's an element of the the whole lead generation process that is overlooked, right? So one thing that we do at Social Commitments is we use automation softwares to make sure we're sending out as many touch points as possible with the leads. So we actually use a software called Zapier. That's Zapier. It's called Zapier, and essentially what that does is it's a software that allows you to link other pieces of software together, right? So when a lead comes in through Facebook, we use Zapier to then send out all those automations. So we'll send out emails, send out text messages. So as soon as the lead comes in, they'll already get all those touch points without actually having to physically follow up with the leads as well. So yeah, Zapier is amazing in terms of the workflow and automating various different tasks. Obviously, it saves a lot of time. So Zapier is really, really cool. And we also, as well, just one thing really quickly. So we also use ringless voicemails as well, which you can send to the leads. So most people, when advertising on social media or when submitting the details, will leave their will leave their mobile number or cell phone number, right? So we use a software called Sly Broadcast, which again allows you to send ringless voicemails. So it rings the lead's phone without actually ringing. So it leaves an automatic voicemail message, that it might say, "Hey, Social Commitments Dental Practice here. We've just tried to give you a call. We can see that you've, submitted your details for our advertisement, for our Invisalign treatment, let's say." And then just say, when can you come into the practice, etc. So it does work very well. They're just some of the, tips and softwares that we use and strategies that we use.
What's probably the number one thing that you're seeing dentists and dental practices that they're failing in their marketing efforts?
If I was to say one thing, really, I mean, it's kind of making an assumption. But I mean, obviously, I don't know if this applies to all dental practices, but I would actually say it's the sales process when it comes to the lead generation. Okay, so when you're generating leads on social media, you need to have an efficient sales process in order to, consistently and effectively follow up with the leads. Because when, people submit their details, right? So let's say, the whole process, right? People see your ad. They're very interested in the treatment that you have to offer. They submit their details, and then you essentially need to contact that lead, depending on the strategy that you use, to then book them in for an appointment, for the treatment that they see on the advertisement. So you definitely need to have an efficient sales process in place, in order to make sure you consistently and effectively following up with the leads. And that's something that we actually pride ourselves in at Social Commitments, right? So, we have automation systems in place at the back end, which essentially send out automated SMS messages to leads. We send out automated voicemail messages, automated emails, to make sure that the leads are getting as many touch points as possible. So, we know we have effectively followed up with the leads.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. So to answer your question, I'd definitely say it's a sales process.
Now, does your company also provide the like photos and digital content for dentists?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, definitely. So when we create advertisements, we create the content. We of course also use content from the dentist as well. So let's say if dentists have videos of, let's say patient testimonials or of themselves, let's say speaking to the camera,
Hmm.
the videos do work very well. But we also create the images. So we create the images, but we can also use content that they have also. And then let's say we can use that content as it is in its original form, or we can, change that content, perhaps add captions, etc., using different softwares, to make it, as aesthetically pleasing, visually pleasing as possible.
Gotcha. Now, when you're working on these, how much effort does the dentist or dental practice actually have to do, or do you pretty much take care of everything there? Or are they just like kind of there to approve certain things?
In regards to the things that they have to do,
Hmm.
really, they don't have to really do that much. So when we're working on advertisements, we kind of take care of everything at the back end. So yeah, I mean, with our system, we, as I mentioned before, so we actually take care of the sales process as well. So really, when you're advertising on social media, the main thing that dentists usually have to do is follow up with the leads, which, as I mentioned before, is an integral part of the process.
Yeah.
So if they don't actually have to follow up with the leads, then they don't really have to do that much. That's why we have created the system that we've created to ensure that the dentist, to make it easy as possible for the dentist, right? So we create the advertising and we also follow up with the leads, which means that the dentist can focus on what they do best, which is providing the treatments, etc., to the clients or to the patients. Now, I'm not sure if this is the case with most of the marketing agencies, but I know a lot of marketing agencies leave the dentist to do the follow up themselves,
Hmm.
which means it's inevitable that, of course, they need to do more work, which is follow up, etc. So it's usually the reception team or the front of house that actually does the follow up as well.
Now, in doing this work, do you own it, or do the customers actually end up owning it, like the Facebook posts, ads, and stories?
So the dentist and the clients we work with always own the work. Essentially, it's their intellectual property, etc. I mean, it would kind of seem nonsensical if we were to own the work, because essentially we have we create the advertisements, etc. to help them generate more business, right? So I wouldn't see the point in us actually owning the content and everything like that. It's all theirs. We're essentially advertising on their behalf. So any IP, any images, all the leads, the data, etc. It's all theirs.
How many? I just kind of coming across my mind here. How many different countries are you actually working with? Different dentists into other countries around the world, or?
So we work with a variety. We work with a variety of different, practices, etc. It's mainly in the UK
Hmm.
because we're in the UK, of course. We mainly work with practices within the UK. However, we have worked with a few dental practices in the US as well, and it does work very, very well. Obviously, the US is huge. There's plenty of people who need dentistry. It works very, very well in the US. Yeah, and the practices who we've actually worked with in the US, the results have been great as well.
Now, are you going to dental seminars in the UK or in the States at all?
Not necessarily, no. So, I mean, we've actually held like a marketing seminar for dentists in the UK, to actually raise awareness of how great social media is for dentists,
Mhm.
basically. So, if we're talking about that type of seminar where we've held it ourselves, then we have held one. Well, we don't necessarily go to actual, dentistry seminars, etc.
Gotcha, gotcha. How do you get your name out to dentists?
So yeah, so we try to practice what we preach. So we actually, speak to a lot of dentists using social media. So we'll send them. So we actually speak to dentists using direct messages,
Hmm.
using Instagram, using Facebook. So yeah, we use a lot of social media to speak to dentists because obviously dentists are on social media, which is great. That's what we like to see. But very, very soon as well, we actually plan to start launching our own advertising campaigns as well. So again, we want to practice what we preach. We're preaching that people, need to advertise on social media. So we need to do it ourselves as well.
Now, in this process, do you actually find that sometimes it's the patients reaching out directly to your company? Because that happens to us pretty often.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. I mean, if it's in regards to like the DM, etc., you do get a lot of patients messaging on social media, which is great. That's what it's for at the end of the day. Social media platforms are there so you can easily interact with the patients, answer any questions that they've got, go over any concerns that they've got, perhaps before they come into the practice. So yes, it's a great way of communicating with, existing and also potential patients.
Gotcha. Now, are you kind of set up to do referrals to dentists also?
Referrals in terms of the agency, the clients that we worked with, or
Like when a patient contacts you, are you able to refer them to a dentist in their area?
yeah, definitely. So yeah, we can do that. So we usually if we've had experience, let's say with a dental practice, then we obviously know the how they work, etc., and their ethos, let's say. So yeah, we can sometimes recommend certain dental practices to the patients who perhaps will message us on social media. Yeah.
For dentists that are just coming into the field, do you have any advice that you'd be able to share with them?
I would definitely say that if you are, if you're an owner of a dental practice, let's say, it's very important to use social media first and foremost. It's very important to use social media, definitely for sure. Whether that's be, to like I say, interact with current patients, interact with, to try to get new patients on board as well, and just to kind of update people on what you're doing in the practice. Let's say any changes that are made in the practice. It's just a great way to interact with people and to tell people what you're all about. Like the other day, for example, I actually follow plenty of dental practices on my Instagram, and I saw one dental practice. It was actually close to where I live,
Hmm.
and they were like doing this dance on social media on Instagram, which is great because that kind of says that it gives out the message that dentists are very, very friendly people and not people who you should be scared of, because I know a lot of people are scared of the dentist, and they shouldn't be. So yeah, that to me was just a great way to actually say, it just gives off like a fun vibe to your audience essentially, which is great.
Gotcha. Yeah, and how often do you find that dental phobic patients are kind of becoming the main focus of this?
Me personally, it's kind of ironic. It's quite funny actually, because I don't really like going to the dentist, which is quite funny considering we work with dentists. So like, if I'm getting a treatment, I don't really like getting a dental treatment. So yeah, I mean, I think it is a quite common thing that
Hmm.
people don't really like going to the dentist. So yeah, social media, like I said, it's just a great way of kind of portraying that you're not scary place and it's a
Yeah,
friendly environment, and it's a very welcoming environment as well.
that's awesome. For our listeners that would want to reach out to you and your brand, where can they find your information?
Yeah, so obviously they can visit our website first and foremost, which is www.socialcommitments.com. And you can feel free to reach out to me on Instagram, which is Zak Haddad Marketing. That's ZAKHADDAD Marketing. Yeah, that'd be very much appreciated. So you can, and there's also a link on our website. There's a few links on our websites as well where they can, schedule a call if they have any questions or anything like that about social media and how it can help them. Essentially, just a free, quick 5 to 10 minute chat that we have with people, just to answer any questions that they've got or anything like that about social media.
Excellent. Yeah, we'll be sure and have those links down below in the show notes. And
I appreciate that.
yeah, you got it. Hey, I appreciate you being on the show with us here, Zach. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been
Oh,
great.
yeah, certainly a pleasure. Thanks so much. Take care.
All right, thank you. You too. Bye
Bye.
now.
Thanks for joining us on the Dental Up Podcast Show this week. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or search the Dental Up Podcast on iTunes for our weekly feed. Don't forget to visit KeatingDentalArts.com/promo for exclusive offers. Keating Dental Arts is a full-service dental laboratory, and we're nationwide. We'd love for you to send us a case so we can show you the Keating difference. If you dig what you heard, please leave a review on iTunes, and we'll be back next week.